Welcome, everybody, to the Neutral Zone Infraction Northwest Podcast, Episode 17, Playoff Preview. Seahawks, Falcons, Saturday. It's going to be a showdown. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be good. It's going to be a good game. And I'm going to break it down for us in this episode. But first, I want to recap last week just really quick. Seahawks played the Lions, and we really took it to the Lions. We really showed a side, a brand of Seahawks football that we have not seen really consistently throughout the entire year. Thomas Rawls was electric. He rushed for over 150 yards in this game. And when that running game gets going, all these other things open up for us. The play action, the deep ball. Paul Richardson was amazing. Doug Baldwin in the second half, amazing. Just so many great throws, and that was all able to be done by the rush. Now, that really sort of lays out a blueprint of how we want to play as a team going forward. If we're going to make a deep run in the playoffs, if we're going to make it past this divisional round, go to the championship game, maybe even to a Super Bowl, this is the brand, this is the style of football that we are going to have to play. And I was so happy to be able to see us be able to pull this off. If this was a game where we eked out a win against the Detroit Lions and there was shoddy offensive line play and we couldn't rush the ball again and, just not a great cohesive effort from the team, but we still managed to win, I would feel terrible. I would feel terrified of the Atlanta Falcons going into their house to play in the divisional round, a round where the Seahawks have struggled away in this Russell Wilson era. So, but as it is now, the brand, the style, the ground and pound play, super strong defense way that we beat the Detroit Lions in our house, so that was a help. That brand, that style is what gives me sort of a supreme confidence going into any matchup. If the Seahawks play Seahawk football at their highest level, at their highest potential, I truly believe going up against anybody else in the league at their highest potential, the Seahawks win every time. Every single time, because defense wins. And there is not another team in the playoffs right now that has a scarier defense than the Seahawks do. And that's even without Earl Thomas. So if we can remain the way that we are right now going into Atlanta, then there's definitely a possibility that we win. And that was all, laid up by that Detroit game. Great game. Really, really great. With that being said, there are a lot of reasons why the Seahawks may not win this game, why the Falcons have so many weapons, just so many weapons. And we are going into their building, and when we played them earlier this year, they came within, a few completions of winning that game. So it would not be unheard of, and we are actually not considered favorites going into this game. Because obviously the Falcons are the number 2 seed, and we're playing in Atlanta. And they're the number 1 offense in the NFL right now. And I've spoken on this podcast before about how the Atlanta Falcons are the best, most complete team in the NFC, and I still think that's true. So you asked me, Drew, okay, so if the Atlanta Falcons have the best offense and you think they're the best, most complete team in the NFC, then how can you think the Seahawks might win this game? Well, that's a great question. The answer is pretty simple. Football is a matchup game. So while they may be the more complete team, they led the league in points per game and, touchdowns, all those things. Matt Ryan's an MVP candidate. They got that number 2 seed. They had a lot of those wins, those marquee wins, those shootout wins against other teams. They don't play great defensive football. And that's a little bit weird. Why that's weird is because their head coach is Dan Quinn, who used to be our defensive coordinator. He implemented, the Seahawks style, basically. It's cover 3 most of the time. Of course, there are coverage, scheme changes, things like that. But it's that system, that 4-3 defense with those sort of roaming safeties. And he implemented that because, it works so well in Seattle. The problem is he doesn't have the personnel that Seattle does on defense. He definitely, there are definitely some great guys there. Vic Beasley getting the sacks. Not really a pass rushing team. There's not one guy on the defensive line who terrifies me. So you think about the games that the Seahawks have lost this year. And I'm kind of all over the place right now. And you're going to have to forgive me. But you think about the games the Seahawks have lost. They lost ugly in Green Bay. That was just not Russell Wilson's day. Not Russell Wilson's day. Anytime you have 6 turnovers, you're going to lose. But in Tampa Bay, Miami, first game of the season when they struggled, at LA, those are the games where the defensive line of the other team has one really marquee guy who is just a nightmare for interior linemen. And the interior linemen in our line, an already weak line, are the weakest point. Our guards are not good. Our center, good. Tackles, pretty bad. Guards, really bad. So if you have one of these interior linemen who's able to rush the quarterback and cause disruption to plays, it basically prevents you from rushing the ball at all and from, doing much in the passing game, especially if they know you're not going to rush the ball. So when you're going against Ndamukong Suh in Miami, Aaron Donald in LA, or Gerald McCoy in Tampa Bay, you got all these guys that are terrifying in the middle and can really cause problems. Well, the Falcons don't have that. They don't. So our defense matches up a lot better to their offense than their defense matches up to ours. If our offense is able to play, if they're able to start fast, if they're able to finish fast, then we can absolutely win a shootout with these Atlanta Falcons. Because I trust our defense to get some stops. I trust them to do that. If you've got Atlanta's defense against the offense that I saw against Detroit, you trust them a lot less to get stops. And you can ask anybody anywhere, in Atlanta, wherever. They know that their defense is not the strength of that team. The strength, though, is a really terrifying offense. They have weapons everywhere. They've got a 2-headed rushing attack. Devonta Freeman, Tevin Coleman. They've got the guy who's super fast, super shifty. They got the guy who's the hammer. And they use them in perfect tandem. And each one of them has several touchdowns, both catching and rushing. And they don't let any of them get tired because they're both so good. That is exactly how running back by committee should be run. And it is perfectly executed in Atlanta. They also have Matt Ryan, quarterback, MVP candidate this year. So he is a good quarterback. I would say Matt Ryan, top 10 quarterback in the NFL, if you look at all the starting quarterbacks in the league. However, in the playoffs, he has not shown his ability to have that killer instinct, that ice cold, just we are going to go and we are going to win. Our guy does. Russell Wilson has done that in the playoffs several times. So Matt Ryan, but he's good. He's going to make throws. No matter what happens, this offense is going to score points on our defense. It's just, can we hold them within enough that our offense is able to take advantage of the weak point in their game, that is their defense. So if you've got Matt Ryan and you got these two rushing guys, not rushing guys, although it would be cool if they were Russian. That would be hilarious. I would be a fan of that. But you also have all these receivers that just a lot of weapons. Julio Jones is probably the best I would say, single coverage receiver in the NFL. If I'm picking one guy against one cornerback, he's got man coverage, he's got single coverage over the top. You say you pick me one guy, throw it at him, and if he catches it, then you live. If he doesn't, then you die. I'm picking Julio Jones. Every time. He's big, he's strong, and he's fast. And he's got great hands. So he's the whole package. He's the package deal, Julio Jones. He is coming off a little bit of an injury. I don't know what percentage he is at as far as his health is concerned, but he definitely is coming off of, he kind of has chronic foot injuries. I don't know why, but he does. And then they've got, what's that new guy's name? It's Travis something. I don't know, but new guy, rookie guy. He's kind of their deep threat, fast guy. Tyler Gabriel. Something Gabriel. Gabriel is his last name. And he is another one of the weapons that they can really put anywhere on their team. And they've got these receivers just stacked to the gills. A stat that I heard today was that on Atlanta, there are 8 players with 3 receiving touchdowns. At least 3 receiving touchdowns. So that's 8 different people Matt Ryan has thrown a touchdown to at least 3 times. That's insane. That is really, really spreading the ball around, so you can't just focus on one guy. With that being said, I do expect Richard Sherman to follow Julio Jones, hopefully even into the slot. I would love to see him, wherever, just blanket him. Just be on him like you've never been on anybody before. And see if you're able to probably not shut him down as good as Richard Sherman is, but just disrupt and minimize his effectiveness. And even talking about this offense, there's a reason it's the number 1 offense in the NFL. There's a reason why it is, quote unquote, scary. But it has me thinking back. In the playoffs, the Seahawks, when they come against a really top-tier offense, those aren't the teams that give them problems. I mean, you can go back historically, and I know it's football, so they're not the same teams. But the team that really is going to give you problems if you're the Seahawks are those defensive teams. Carolina last year, Minnesota last year. You've got, let's see, the year before that we went to the Super Bowl and we lost to the Patriots. So the Patriots, obviously a defensive team, defensive-minded Bill Belichick. And the year before we won against the number 1 offense. We played the number 1 offense in the Super Bowl in 2013. We won 43-8. And that was on neutral soil. Everyone was like, oh, this Broncos offense is the best offense I've ever seen. And they got shut down. And a lot of those same guys, a lot of those core guys are still on the Seahawks, plus extra guys. I would say one of, if not the best defender on the Seahawks right now is Michael Bennett. Just signed a big contract. He deserves it. He can line up anywhere. He's terrifying. He gets offsides penalties, but I don't care because he is so disruptive. And he wasn't on that team. Neither was Cliff Averill, who has been playing outside of his mind this year. And Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright, they were rookies. Or no, second-year guys. They were second-year guys. So KJ Wright was a second-year guy. No, KJ Wright, third-year guy. Bobby Wagner, second-year guy. So these 2 guys are really in their absolute prime right now in terms of physical body and mental awareness and how they play with each other. And I can just go through and through this defense. And I've done it before. I've done it on this podcast where I'm just look at every level of this Seahawks team. And there are weapons there. So when somebody comes and they tell me that this number 1 offense is just going to run Seattle out of the building, I don't think so. I think this game is, if I was a bookie and I was like, okay, so we're going to bet on this game. What kind of odds do you want to give to make the most money? I'm making it a pick 'em. I'm not giving points in favor of one or the other. I could see it really going either way. Flip of the coin, 50-50. I think it is it could go either way. And I've not felt this way about a game in a while. Like, this is not a normal feeling that I have where it's just like, it's unstoppable force versus immovable wall. If we're able to play the way that we played this last week. And I know that we can play. And that's what makes it hard, too. Because as good as the Seahawks are, as much as I love them, as much as I love to watch them play, I think they are the bee's knees. I am all about it, through and through, die hard. I know they are not a consistent team. They're not. You cannot make an argument that says the Seattle Seahawks are consistently good. No, they're not. When they are, there's like 3 levels. There's 4 levels. There's playing out of your mind, bananas crazy. No one can beat this team ever. That is the level that I have seen from the Seattle Seahawks. This team is really good, and they're going to beat most teams on most days. And that's sort of, I'd love to say it was the normal. It was normal in 2014 and normal in a lot of parts of 2015, except for the beginning of the year, 2013. That's really where we kind of live. There is, oh my gosh, what's happening? This team looks kind of rusty. This team, like, it's not working. And then there's, holy crap, call the fire department. Everything's ruined. Like, there's no redeeming qualities here. Get them out. End the game. Stop the match. It's over. So those are your 4 levels. And I'd love to say that you could just roll the dice and pick one of those in a game. But it's really not. It's not like that at all. In the first half, it can be, oh my gosh, stop the match. It's over. Please kill me. And in the second half, it can be, oh my gosh, bananas crazy. No one can beat this team. And then it sort of sometimes averages out and we win. Sometimes we're in too far of a hole. And we cannot dig too big of a hole in this game. This divisional round, I think, is too important to be able to fall. If we fall behind 2 touchdowns in the first half, and the half ends and we're 2 touchdowns behind, I am going to be sweating bullets. I'm going to be crying on the inside. I'm not going to be a happy camper. And neither should any Seahawk fan, because that is a big hole against these Falcons. If we're able to stay close with them, if we're able to stay within 1 score, within touchdown and a field goal, still kind of rough, but we'll be in the game. And if we can keep them below that magic number of 24 points, which is still the magic number in this game, just like it was with Detroit, even though they didn't come anywhere close to it. Look at the statistics. 24. That's the number where we really want to keep the Falcons in order to give ourselves the best shot to win. Definitely, we have the capability of doing that with the defense and the personnel that we have. But it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be simple. It's going to be a stressful game. It's not going to be over fast. I don't think. If it is over fast, it's going to be over fast for them. Because we're going to lose. So, and it's a really important game. I think that this is going to be the biggest test. This is the team that I least want to play right now. Even with Aaron Rodgers playing with his hair on fire, that defense is completely and totally exploitable in Green Bay. So they have a massive weakness on that team. Dallas Cowboys, you guys know that I've never thought they were as good as everyone thinks they are. And I still think that's true. Their defense is a liability. They have a rookie quarterback, and they rely too much on the rush. That's the Dallas Cowboys. These Falcons have a lot of monsters on offense. And they're good, but not great on defense. They've got some players that can cause some problems, but we definitely have the matchups where we can win on offense. So these Falcons in their house, I think, is going to be the toughest test until we would go to, knock on wood, an eventual Super Bowl against probably the Patriots, because I don't know who's going to beat them. Maybe the Steelers, but I don't think so. So you think about it, this is every week is you focus on the team you're playing and that's all. But this week especially, because it's going to be a test. If we go into Atlanta and we beat the Falcons, nobody wants to play the Seahawks. Nobody. Like, people can shrug off, okay, it was the Detroit Lions. They didn't win a game the last 4 games of the regular season. They kind of were in a downward trend. They were in your building. So it's understandable that you clubbed them over the head like you did. Okay, that's fine. I can get behind that. But the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta with an MVP candidate, with the way that everyone loves offense so much, even though it's proven that defense wins, that would be a statement win. Just an absolute crushing statement win for the Seahawks. And I definitely think that is possible. Like I said, flip a coin on Saturday, Falcons win, Seahawks win. It's really going to be, that's how I feel about it. It's going to be a stressful one. I'm going to be right there with all you guys, stressing out, maybe eat some hot wings, cry a little bit. We'll see what happens. It'll be fun. A lot of great games this week. So, I mean, not much of a real dynamic, hard-hitting analysis preview of the game, but those are my thoughts. I mean, we have the weapons. If you don't know what weapons I'm talking about, go back one episode and listen to me break down all the weapons we have. It's a lot. They've got their weapons too. It's going to be a war. It's going to be a war. It's going to be a nasty game. Good news is referee Gene Steratore is going to be there officiating, and Gene Steratore doesn't take any garbage from anybody. So it's going to be good. I got a good feeling about this game. You know, there's the storylines. We went into Atlanta in 2012 and lost. So, you know, we've been here before. And we can win. I think we can. So let me break down the other games this week real quick. So the Texans are going into Foxborough to play the Patriots. It should be a bloodbath, you would think. I mean, the Texans' defense is good. They looked good-ish against a third-string quarterback in Connor Cook and the Raiders last week. But I don't see how anybody. They're not going to win. The Texans are not going to win. If for some reason they knock off the Patriots behind Brock Osweiler, he's going to be worth every penny of the $72 million that they are going to pay him. And they'll have a statue commissioned immediately of Brock Osweiler, all 6'8" of him, in front of Texas Stadium, if by some reason they beat the Patriots. Mark my words, that would actually happen. But it's not going to happen because the Patriots are going to win. Other game we got in the AFC is Steelers at Chiefs. Now, this one's interesting. It's interesting because it's another one of these offenses versus defensive kind of matchups that we got going on. I'm really intrigued to watch this game because as much as Alex Smith has done this year and Travis Kelce probably being the second best tight end in football right now, and you know, the weapons with Justin Houston and Tamahali on defense for the Chiefs, I don't think that they're going to win. And it's kind of a bummer because you pull for a team like that, like kind of under the radar. Kansas City against one of the all-time great franchises in the Steelers, but the Steelers just have too many weapons, I think. Ben Roethlisberger did twist his ankle or something in this last game, so there was some questions about his health or availability, but Ben Roethlisberger's always injured in some way and always nursing something that he can go just take some plays off for a little bit, get a sandwich on the bench. You know, that's how he rolls, and I can respect that. From Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger is either the toughest quarterback in the history of football or he's the biggest crybaby in the history of football, and I can't tell which one because he's always injured, he's always out for something, and I really don't know which one. But I think the Steelers are going to win this game. Le'Veon Bell's a monster. He's going to be a free agent this offseason. The Steelers will probably franchise tag him if you don't see running back deals like you used to with your Adrian Petersons and Sean Alexander for Seahawks fans, Marshawn Lynch, those kind of deals. very often in the NFL anymore, just because running backs are a dime a dozen. But Le'Veon Bell is a special back. Like, he can do all of the things. So I think he'll be a key factor. I definitely think they'll lean on him because they don't want to get in the teeth of the Kansas City Chiefs rush, and they don't want to, really throw it much either because they've got, Eric Berry and the guy from Washington. What's his name? The cornerback that's really good. God, why can't I remember his name? I'm doing the worst with names. This is some hard-hitting analysis right now. But that cornerback back there that's leading he's got a lot of interceptions. What is his name? I got to look it up. Hold on. Okay, so I paused the recording, and immediately after I paused it, I didn't even look it up. I remembered it as I paused the recording, which is really just hilarious how the human brain works. Marcus Peters is the name that I was trying to think of. Gosh, man, we're putting a polished product in front of you today, ladies and gentlemen. A polished product. So they don't want to pass the ball. They don't want to pass the ball. So I think Le'Veon Bell is gonna rush them into some wins. So Steelers, I think, beat Kansas City, and the Patriots beat the Texans. I'm also really intrigued to see Green Bay at Dallas. Now, this is going to be a fun one because I want with all of my heart for Dallas to lose. It just every part of me wants to be so right about them. But like I said, the Green Bay defense is just really easily exploitable right now. Their defensive backs are not great. Clay Matthews is also, he's really good. They got Mike Daniels, who does really great stuff for the rushing. But that Dallas offensive line is so good, and the rushing attack that they have is good. So it'll be a tough test. But if you look back in recent history, when Dallas plays Green Bay just usually wins. So it should be a really intriguing matchup. If the Seahawks win and Green Bay wins, then they come NFC Championship games in Seattle, and I would love for that to happen. That would be great. So I think that the Green Bay Packers are going to beat the Cowboys, and I hope that they do. It's just going to cause a big ruckus with, maybe we should have played Tony Romo instead of Dak Prescott, and all that stuff that's been going on in Dallas all season long. So those are my picks. We got Patriots, Steelers, Green Bay, and Seattle. I picked Seattle to win. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a fun one. I look forward to recap it for you guys. If we lose, I'll definitely do one more podcast before I take a break, before baseball, and then to break it down. But I don't think we're going to lose. Definitely more podcasts in the future as we make our run to the Super Bowl. So look forward to that. I appreciate you guys listening. Remember, if you got questions about the playoffs or anything, Mariners make some trades. Lots of fun stuff happening in Seattle sports right now. You can tweet me at NeutralZoneNW. Send me an email, neutralzoneinfractionnw@gmail.com. Comment on this video, like, subscribe. Really great stuff, Drew. Really great. Like, subscribe, share, do all that great social media things. Have a great week. Have a great Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And as always, thanks for listening.